Today we're going to talk about BYRD McKinney. He was born February 8th, 1908. He's kind of a mystery guy. Not a whole lot is written about BYRD, except for maybe if you're a family member, you may know a lot about him.
Huh? What?
But the history books show not a lot about BYRD, and we're going to talk about him. With a name like BYRD, you know this guy could fly. His parents probably knew he was going to be a speedway rider, and they thought like, what would be a good name to name our son? We're going to have this guy fly. His name's going to be BYRD.
Gazoo!
Recently, I made a blog on Cordy Milne winning the 1934 U.S. Speedway Championship. And then I went ahead and saw Lammy Lamoureux second place. And then I saw BYRD McKinney in third place. And I'm like, who's BYRD? Who is this guy?
George Jetson, I don't know who BYRD McKinley is.
BYRD McKinley. I don't know much about BYRD, but he placed third on the podium that night. I decided to investigate and find out more about BYRD. And he was the first MA rider to wear the number 2 plate. He was before Rick Woods. He was before Alan Crazy Christian. And he was before Josh Larson as the riders to wear number 2. Like I say, there's not a lot written about BYRD, but he must have been an active rider in about 1929 or 30. He must have been on that speedway bike practicing, racing wherever he could. He was one of those hardcore dudes. He had that spirit of competition. He had that tiger within himself to compete. And like I mentioned before, by 1934, he was on the podium with Lammy and Cordy, and he was an awesome rider. I mean, anytime a rider can make the podium with the field that he had, you got to be a pretty good rider. In those 2-day nationals, he had a race with Sprouts Elder, and he went ahead and BYRD was riding on the outside. He knew that Sprouts was coming around him, and BYRD, like I mentioned, is a good rider. He was ahead of Sprouts Elder, my idol. So he was definitely a hot rider. And he was coming into the turn, and BYRD went out wide to cut off Sprouts and kind of near the crash wall. And I don't like that when I'm behind a rider and then all of a sudden someone comes out and kind of pinches me. And it just makes it uncomfortable because all I can see is like my front tire and their back tire, and they can hit and collide. And that's exactly what happened to Sprouts Elder. He collided with BYRD's front tire, and it sent him tumbling over the handlebars. He broke a bunch of ribs and a whole bunch of other injuries, and that pretty much messed him up for that 34 World Championship, United States Championship qualifier. And Sprouts Elder, he continued to ride, but he was injured. The racing was fast during the qualifier. The 2-day event, it was fierce. It was ferocious. Those guys were going for it. It was all out. It was full bore for those 2 days of qualifying. However, the old master, one of the greatest speedway riders in United States history, and that's Sprouts Elder. He got injured during the qualifier, I believe. And also the future world champion, that's Jack Milne. He got injured too. So you had 2 of the great stars. They were riding a little bit handicapped, but they were still riding, and they were injured.